Okay, boys and girls, engineering. Let's get this leveled in one go, and let's see how either painful or painless it can be. We got our engineering trainer. We've got our engineering. So, right, let's take a look. Let's take a look. We're going to need lace-right bolts times many. I know that for a fact. We're going to need porous polishing abrasive times many. So I'm not too concerned with crafting a whole bunch of these to get some free skill points. That should be nice and easy. Let's make it so you guys can actually see the skill points easier. I'll put this about here. Let's do as a big old font. There you go, you guys can see that, lovely jubbly. The fact that these are still yellow and they require basically no materials, I'm going to continue to craft these probably until they go grey, in all honesty, because we're definitely going to need them. All of these lace-right bolts that you craft, you're going to use them later on down the line, so don't do anything stupid like sell them or just delete them or anything ridiculous. Save these, we're going to use these in large quantities. That is why I'm happy to sort of push these until they go grey. Grey is probably 20, I would imagine. But a single piece of lace stripe each, it's not going to break the bank. These nutcracker grenades, we also use these in good quantities anyway. Oh, we can go even further with these. Excellent. Let's keep going. Although we're not getting any skill points for these now. Come on, let's just get to 25 with the lace stripe bolts. I know we're going to need them. Even if it requires crafting a bunch. Because if I can get a skill point, I'll take a skill point. Wow, RNGesus is not blessing me today. Look at the amount of skill points we're not getting. 21, 22. That's better. Come on, 23, 24, 25. It's real simple. There's 23. Come on now. 2 more to go. Easy game. 24, 25. There we go, and it's gone grey. Nice. So now we've crafted a whole bunch of those. Oh, we need to buy some luminous flux actually. Where's our vendor dude? Let's grab ourselves a bunch of that. I forgot that was an item we're going to need. Luminous flux. Buy a whole bunch of it. That's all good. And the trainer. Now we're back. So we've got the option now. We can either make these nutcracker grenades. These are going to go into the shadow mines. They also go into the bomb bowler launchers, so it may not be a bad idea to craft some of these as we're going to need them anyway. 3 lace stripe bolts, 2 of these porous abrasive polishing powdery doodahs, and a single piece of lace stripe. Makes them pretty cheap. Or we could look at crafting some more parts. We could craft up. These are not going to be too bad actually. Oh my god, I need a blacksmith hammer. Of course I do. There we go. Preparation is key, obviously. Something that I have definitely not done. Okay, right, so where did we get to? I think we probably want to look at guaranteeing ourselves some skill. Arc-light spanner. Boys and girls, I'm going to kill somebody. This is why I hate engineering. Now we're good to go. Now we're good to go. Okay, so after a brief interlude to pick up some more materials, namely an arc-light spanner, we are back and we can continue. So at this point, I think we want to guarantee ourselves skill points. Crafting these is not a bad plan of action because we're going to need them anyway. Mortal coil and spring. Let's just have a quick check, see exactly how many things are going to use these. These are going to be used later on for our wormhole generator. These are going to be used in pretty decent quantities. We're going to need the worm-fed gear assemblies as well. So crafting these is not a bad plan of action. Let's craft a bunch of these then until we get to 30. We'll do a combination of them both. Requires anvil, of course it does. Of course it does. There we go. This is a real example of how not to do anything. Make 3 of those. A couple of worm-fed assemblies, that will get us to 30. We need more powder. Told you we'd need a bunch of this stuff. Told you we'd need a bunch of this stuff. I should have listened to myself. It's pretty safe to craft these parts in large quantities because at least if you're going to be an engineer, you should really think ahead a little bit, at least when leveling, knowing full well that you're going to need them later down the line. So this should get us to 30. We then get this bomb bowler launcher, which interestingly, even when we pick it up, is still only yellow. So arguably, I'm just going to try and ignore the bombs as much as possible, then continue to plow forward, crafting these materials. What are we missing? This abrasive stuff. We're missing a whole bunch more of this. The fact that these are guaranteed skill points and they're parts that we're going to use later down the line, safe to invest in these early on. We need to get to 35 before we get the next new thing to craft. Let's just craft a whole bunch of these. Didn't actually realise, but we're going through quite a lot of this porous stone. Not many other professions need this porous stone, so you should be able to pick this up really cheap on the auction house, is my guess. Let's go 5 points in here. Still holding out orange, which is nice. We get our precision life force. Now this will give us 2 skill points, so let's at least check the material requirements for this. 10 lacerite ore, bunch of bolts, some twilight bark, and a whole bunch of materials. This is still, in terms of skill points, this is still really expensive. We're going to continue to plow forward with these, I think. There seems to be little reason not to. So they're pretty cheap. We can get ourselves to 40, we should be good. Okay, we've got enough to make 5 of those then. I'm very tempted just to continue crafting these until they go at least yellow, if not maybe green, you know. We get ourselves our novice crafter's mark. We pick up the novice crafter's mark and it's already grey. Well, I think we know that we're not going to be crafting any of those then. We're going to need more porous polishing abrasive. Holy smoke, we really are going through a lot of this. I might even need to pick up some more stone, you know. I think I started with, was it maybe 3 stacks of stone? It looks like we're going to be using this in big numbers. Like I said, this I imagine should be really cheap on the auction house. Virtually nobody but engineers is going to use it, so. I think blacksmiths need a little bit of it, but on average, this is basically solely for your engineers. So let's just check. We've got this bunch of springs. We've got a bunch of lace-stripe bolts. And there's the polishing abrasive. There's the worm fed. There are 4 main materials that we're going to use a bunch of. Let's craft up 5 more of these. Now the mortal coil spring has gone yellow. We'll focus on making the worm fed gear assemblies instead. Unless something really really big comes out of these. So our belt attachment. So it's at this point you can start modifying your own gear, or you can look at making Crafter's Mark 1 if the Crafter's Marks are going to be beneficial to you. Now, Machinist Oil is a crafting reagent. We can grab that from a vendor if we need. Using some of these, I still really want to continue ploughing forward with the worm-fed gear assemblies, if I'm honest, simply because they are still orange to us. They're still going to guarantee us skill points. Let's make up a few more of these. There we go, that should get us the next 5 points, up to 50. So far we've pretty much solely been using lacerite ore and the porous stone. That's pretty much the only materials we've spent so far. We get the soul trap, which is going to give us 3 skill points. This is quite interesting. Shout out to Ghostbusters fans out there. Basically a banishing trap. 10 lacerite ore plus a whole bunch more lacerite bolts. Interestingly, using soul dust, so it's got a nice tie in there to enchanting, and it's then using some of these mortal springs and worm fed gear assemblies that we've crafted. Now they're looking pretty good for 3 skill points, although the fact that these are still orange though, that's looking like a favourite to continue crafting in my eyes. We're going to need more of the polishing abrasive. Pick up the goblin gnomish knife. Yes, because that basically does everything, doesn't it? The gnomish knife is a multi-tool. Now if we can get to 60 off these worm-fed gear assemblies, this profession is GG from there. And the amount of these that we've crafted really does re-emphasise that just crafting a whole bunch of them and getting it grey early on is a really good way to get those first few skill points. We're actually running short now, even on lacerite bolts, so we'll craft a few more of those. Nine. We want this to go 10 because we'd like to try and get to 60 off these if we can. It might go yellow pretty soon though. Wouldn't surprise me. Oh, it stayed orange. Nice. These are really cheap skill points. This is really cheap. And it's still orange. Holy smoke. Now we've got the option to make this for 3 skill points. More uses some of these worm feds, uses some of the mortal coils, bunch of lacerite, 5 sacred shards. Wow, that's going to make this quite expensive, you know. Destabilizes gravity around a target location, hindering enemies' movement for 10 seconds, launching them in random directions. The fact that this is taking 5 sacred shards, it's anybody that wants to use engineering for some of these flavorful devices that you can make, it's going to get real expensive real quick to use these on the regular, but it's 3 skill points. So I'm wondering if maybe it is time to start crafting some of these. Although I really do think that whilst we can get points for basically for free, that I should go for it. See how far we can push the worm-fed gear assembly. If we can get 5 more crafts out of it, it'll be good. Let's bang some more of these out then. 61, 62, 63, 64... 65, it's still orange. Oh, this is ridiculous. This profession is totally broken. Totally broken. We basically don't have to craft anything. If this worm-fed gear assembly doesn't go at least yellow, if not green, at 70, we can safely say that engineering is still broken. I actually need more of that stone, you know, as well. We've run out of stone even. We've got ourselves a bunch of these bolts still. Yeah, we need more porous polishing abrasive, meaning that we actually need more porous stone. Right then, let's try again. So, we can continue crafting this as far as we can push it. We got ourselves some more porous stone to be able to continue crafting these. Now, realistically, it doesn't look like we have to get much past 85 in terms of skill points to basically complete engineering. We've got to 65 so far, and we've done nothing but make materials. This is quite an interesting one. So let's make at least 5 of these, because it might go yellow at least soon. 68, 69, 70. Oh my god, it's still orange. This is incredible if it goes live like this, because it's basically making engineering virtually free to craft. This is madness. I can't believe this has stayed orange for as long as it has. Let's see what happens when we get to 75. It must then force us to actually start making something at 75. It's yellow. It's not. I was expecting it to go instantly grey. So we pick up scopes at 75. Now our scopes are going to start requiring... Oh! Our scopes require gems even, you know. So we need a couple of gems. All the different gems. Even more materials that I didn't plan on actually needing. Virtually free is still a bad bargain. Seems fair to me. Yeah. So now we've either got the option of crafting up a bunch of these scopes, or simply ploughing forward with the worm-fed gear assemblies, which I hate to say it, but since these are so cheap to make in comparison to anything else, I feel it's going to be really difficult to not grey these out. Make some more of these polishing. Three, 4. We need at least the ability to make 5 of these, because we're not guaranteed a skill point anymore. But this must go. It genuinely must go green really quickly now. There we go. It went green almost instantly. But maybe it's going to grey out at 80, isn't it? Oh, we need one more. What are we missing? What are we missing? Bolts. Oh, we must get to 80. We must get to 80. Yes, there we go. So we grade it out at 80. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. We got about 40 points from that one simple thing. So now genuinely we hit 80, and our only choice is to make the scopes. So I need to quickly go grab a couple of gems so we can craft those up. Interlude moment, part 17. Okay, so after quickly grabbing up some gems, we can now continue to craft some scopes. We need, what do we need? We need some more lace strike bolts, ironically. There's a surprise. Requires anvil, of course it does. Now there's two different versions of the scope. One gives you, I presume, it's increased critical strike, 397. The other one I guess is haste, right? Yeah, 397 haste. Only requires level 51 though, which is quite interesting. That's going to be a nice little way to make some gold at least, I'd imagine. So I guess we can actually just make 5 of one if we wanted to. But we'll spread it out a little bit on the theory that you would then ultimately try and sell these. We'll make a couple of each. Hopefully it'll then get us to 85. And then one more for good luck. So there we go. They are literally the only things we've made whilst leveling engineering. Now of course the parts, you can throw them on the auction house. People will buy these parts up off you, almost guaranteed. Or you can feed them back into actually crafting some of the more useful stuff for yourself personally. We get now our specs, each of which are going to give us 3 skill points each, and this is how you're going to be able to push your engineering from 85 to 100. Now currently on the beta, due to it being #beta mode, they're still using placeholder materials for these, so I can't actually craft them even if I want to. So I'm somewhat forced to end the guide here for engineering. We can arguably get past 85 crafting some scopes, but the way to get to 100 from here is to craft up these. These are going to then use they're going to use some of those materials that we've been crafting up until now, namely your worm-fed gear assemblies. But that's pretty much it. The things to note is that they do take quite a lot of the other materials right now, but I would take all of this with a grain of salt simply because they're still got placeholder stuff. So yeah, it's about as far as I get with engineering. Engineering cannot possibly go live in this exact fashion, so making this guide might have been completely useless, but hey, who knows. The reason you're gonna want to push to 100 is that when you get exalted with the Ascended, you get your pet, and that's realistically, from a goal point of view, the only thing that you're gonna want to strive towards, and the long term, arguably the only way you're gonna make substantial money with engineering is by selling these pets. But yeah, that was engineering, boys and girls. So if that was helpful for you, give the video a like, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.